Mueller, She Wrote. Mueller, She Wrote is a podcast with an all-female cast led by the pseudonymous AG, a military veteran in a senior role in an executive branch agency. It mixes comedy, legal commentary, and political analysis from a liberal perspective and centers on the Mueller investigation. The original co-hosts were San Diego comedians Jordan Coburn and Jaleesa Johnson. The latter has since left the show due to a pay dispute. While the podcast is comedic in tone, it has been praised for capturing the minute detail of the Mueller investigation and for a record of accurate predictions, and Seth Abramson, in an opinion piece for The Guardian, has described it as an indispensable source of curatorial journalism for many Trump-Russia watchers. Mueller, She Wrote is a founding member of the MSW Media podcast network. Format: Intro sequence. The show commences with the theme song, an instrumental version of the James Bond film credits theme from Russia with Love, with audio excerpts of Donald Trump, Paul Manafort, and Jeff Sessions dubbed over, and concluded with an excerpt from the film Clue, "It is political, you're a communist," followed by "No, Mr. Green. Communism is just the facts." AG will recap the general news related to the special counsel inquiry, the Trump-Russia relations, and other generally connected news stories, followed by a few minutes of general discussion of the news and speculation as to the legal ramifications in which these may result. Hot notes: most weeks, Jaleesa and Jordan do research and present for discussion their findings, often relating to history on Donald Trump. Fantasy Indictment League. The show commenced in November 2017 following the first indictments handed down by the grand jury from the Mueller investigation, upon the speculation that there would be more indictments come to pass in the course of the investigation. This led to the trio making fantasy sports-style picks of people they believed were likely to be indicted before the subsequent episode. This later was opened up to the podcast's community to speculate on through social media. In 2019, they decided to alter the rules for themselves to avoid doubling up, so any pick can be chosen by only one player, though this was limited only to the hosts, not to the community. Notable indictees include Paul Manafort, Rick Gates, Roger Stone, and Michael Cohen, all of whom were popular picks by both the hosts and their listeners and social media community. Personnel. The three hosts of the show at its inception were A.G. Jaleesa Johnson and Jordan Coburn. The name A.G. was a pseudonym for Allison Gill. Her identity was kept confidential to avoid potential violations of the Hatch Act due to the political nature of the podcast, as Gill was an employee of the United States Department of Veterans Affairs. Gill maintains that her March 2020 termination for medical unfitness was pretextual and retaliatory for her involvement with the Mueller, She Wrote podcast. As of late 2019, Jaleesa Johnson is no longer with the podcast.